Murali Bashyam. I'm here with Ame Coats. We're both attorneys with the law firm of Bashyam Spiro. We're going to go ahead and begin on all the changes that are happening to the H1B program and what it means for you and your employees. And, with this Neufeld memo, which is what we're going to talk about today, a lot of employers, especially IT consulting companies, are going to be a little bit, cautious when filing these cases, given all the additional documentary requirements that the Immigration Service says they need. It definitely started last year. A lot of companies filed on April 1st and provided the documentation that was generally required of them, based on prior years. And so, when these cases were filed on April 1st, suddenly a lot of, companies started getting RFEs, requests for evidence. They started asking for vendor contracts and client letters. Documentation on the company's legitimacy, that's always been the same. That's, the Immigration Service has always required that, especially for smaller companies. But just the way the service started processing these cases, it was just a radical shift from how they had handled it, the preceding years. So attorneys and employers were both shocked and had to adapt and present evidence in response to these RFEs. So what happened? A lot of attorneys, including us, we said, well, if you're going to ask for different documentation, it would have been nice for you to tell everybody beforehand what the new processing norms were going to be.
Yeah, there was a ton of chatter on the web, between immigration attorneys, like basically what's going on, what are the standards, what's happening, what do they want? And we got nothing for a long time.
So finally this year in January, the Immigration Service issued a memo, famously referred to now as the Neufeld memo. And that memo sought to define what they consider to be the employer-employee relationship. In an economy like this, it's understandable for a lot of people to make a lot of noise about hiring foreign workers versus U.S. workers. So that and the issue of fraud, I think, are the two biggest reasons why the Immigration Service has started tightening up the processing of H-1B apps. Right now, we're not seeing any major difference. I know that this memo has caused a big uproar, with the American Immigration Lawyers Association and with the immigration bar in general. I've used this word a couple of times, which is the word adapt. So whether you agree with what the Immigration Service is doing or disagree with it, whatever opinions you have on it, well, you can do two things. One is you have to adapt, to the circumstances and provide what they're asking for. And the other thing you can do is, if you disagree with the policy, yell and scream to your, senators and congressmen in your state, because they need to know. This obviously is a situation that does impact employers, and some in a very negative way. And it's important that, employers, follow the rules. We're definitely, urging employers to follow all the rules. But at the same time, it's important for government to understand these industries as well. And, we question whether they really do understand it or not. So, Amy, we're going to, look into the crystal ball here and, try to predict, what's going to happen in the future. I think that the Immigration Service is definitely going to probably tighten up their processing of H-1B applications, based on all these additional documentary requirements. But we'll just have to see, And like I said, employers just have to adapt and provide as much documentation on control. Anticipate that the Immigration Service is going to question the whole control issue, and modify their practice to incorporate some of these items that we discussed today. There is no right or wrong answer here, and we talk about all these documents and getting an employment agreement, setting up a policy and all that, but don't do it just for the sake of doing it. I mean, once you put it in place,
just for the sake of H-1Bs and immigration.
Just for the sake of H-1Bs and immigration. When you put it in place, actually follow through with it. Do it and document it. And the documenting, as we've mentioned before, is very, very important.
For more information, call us today or visit BashamSpiro.com to view our full media library.